どうなんでしょうか。
Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
ウィル・スミスにやられました。
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's
G.I. ジェーンのジョークだったんです。
I'm going to, okay? I can, okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
Greetings. I am Master Gano Grills for Galighticus, and today is March the 28th, 2022. This is the morning after the Oscars. It is 9:38 in the a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I wanted to take a look at what Will Smith did last night during the Oscars. I wanted to take a little closer look at the implications of what he did. So in order for me to do that, we need to establish a couple of things so that we can better understand the pathology and the motivation behind why Will Smith felt that he needed to do what he did last night. And the first thing is, I'm also going to frame this with as much respect as I have for Will Smith, as well as the same amount of respect that I have for Chris Rock. Both of these men are made men in Hollywood. Both of them have had major accomplishments in their own respective arenas. Chris Rock is a comedian that has done a lot of groundbreaking work in comedy in his own career, and he's still very, very relevant today, as is Will Smith. Both of them have both experienced highs and lows, dips and valleys, ebbs and flows in their careers. And I have to say that when I read this book right here, I have told many, many people that if Will Smith were to die today, he did an excellent job at leaving a great testimony about his life and why he did the things that he did. And I really, really have a great respect for that. So when it comes to what happened last night, Chris Rock referenced Will Smith's wife and her problem by disguising it in a G.I. Jane 2 joke. I didn't hear the whole thing, but all I know is that there was a repercussion of Will strolling up stage and, in the words of Chris Rock, smacking the out of Chris Rock. And we all thought it was staged. We all thought that it was something that was planned because let's keep it a buck, as the kids say. The Oscars have been really, really struggling with keeping the balance of Black melanated viewership. They've been struggling with not being touted as Oscars so white. They've been struggling with keeping a valid hold on their legitimacy in existence in Hollywood. So I have to say that last year, the year before that, I think it was last year, the Questlove had DJ'd the Oscars. It was amazing. So I know that they are making an effort. The Oscars, the Academy, the crew of the Oscars are doing a great job, I think, in really, really trying to balance out the inequity that Jada Pinkett Smith had spoken about in chagrin about Will Smith not getting even a nomination when he deserved to have that for a performance that he did years ago in the year 2016. And what was interesting about that is if you follow the sequence of events, it makes what happened last night a little more interesting because Chris Rock did a documentary about the hair, the antennas, the ether of Black women. And I personally have not seen it yet, but I've heard a lot of good things about it, that it goes deep into the psyche of why melanated women wear their hair the way they do. I'm going to leave it there because I have my own personal opinions about that, but that does not belong here, right? And that was a few years ago. Let's move a little further. We also know that there has been a long-standing inequity with how Will Smith has basically felt about Tupac and the relationship, the friendship, because that's what it was. It was a friendship that Jada Pinkett had with Tupac and his his insecurity with that, right? We get that. Made that very, very clear in this book. I'm referencing this book because it's a really, really good book. It's a thick book. It's 400 some odd pages. And yes, I bought this book. I supported it because I wanted to see what Will Smith was talking about, and he gave a great testament. So when you look at how, according to Will's words, how he felt about Tupac, that gives a little more fuel as to why he did what he did last night. My question is, did Will take it too far? Did Will Smith go too far last night when he slapped Chris Rock in the face? Let's take a look a little bit deeper, right? So we have the documentary that Chris Rock did. We also have Will's feelings about being a coward. He said that. And I'm going to be very, very transparent. I've said to several people that when I see Will Smith, I'm going to grab him, I'm going to give him a hug, I'm going to kiss him on the cheek, and I'm going to tell him that you are no one's coward. I don't feel that he's a coward because, according to Will, in his book, he says that he watched his father assault his mother. He didn't protect his mother. And most of what he has done in his career has been trying to right the wrong of him not standing up to the actions, the ill actions, and the abuse that his mother had to deal with at the hands of his father. I get it. He was haunted by that. And he always needed to rise to the occasion and triumph over those ill feelings of being a coward. However, I feel Will Smith. Now, I'm going to frame this as if I'm talking to you directly because this might be my only opportunity, right? Given the circumstance and how the world is, to make something clear about my personal feeling about what you so lovingly shared in your book, right? I feel that your accomplishments as a man are exceptional. As an actor, ultra exceptional. As a humanitarian, and you've put a lot of light into this world. I can happily say that about you, Will Smith, that you've done exceptional. You've gone over and beyond in terms of your achievements, in terms of your character and your morality and the things that you've done. So that's noted. When we go back and we look at what happened last night, I haven't even gotten to your your acceptance speech for your Oscar, but I will say congratulations for that. And you are in a very esteemed league of gentlemen, melanated gentlemen, of the meager number of 5. I wish there were more, and I hope that there will be more. But you are now in that class, Will Smith. And what happened with your wife, Jada Pinkett Smith? You felt from a very, very deep level that you needed to defend her. You needed to protect her. But let's go back a little further. In the year 2016, Chris Rock said something that Jada Pinkett wanted to she wanted to boycott the Oscars. And her boycotting the Oscars is like Jada Pinkett boycotting the Oscars is like someone boycotting Rihanna's panties. You were never invited, or something to that extent. Now, let's look at this. Chris Rock is a comedian. He's here to entertain and be the MC, master of ceremonies. There is an element of roasting that happens that is part of the history of what happens when you go to the Oscars. There's going to be a little light roasting. What happened last night is something that, in my opinion, well, I'll reserve that to the end. But we have to give Chris Rock a pass, Will, because he was there to do a job. Did he go too far? That is subjective. What I would say is, or ask, would you have done the same thing had it not been for the pre-existing 2016 comment that obviously you guys probably did not like, that he said about your wife boycotting the Oscars? Is it something that sat well with you? Did you have a preconceived motivation to make sure that you sat in the front? Now, I want him to say whatever he's going to say to my face. And he did. He did his job. He made his jokes. And I don't think Chris Rock ever thought that he would have been openly assaulted. Remember, Chris Rock has, and he said this, and I learned about this when he was on The View. He said that he has a disorder, a mental disorder. I don't remember the name of it, but he doesn't read social cues. And you could see that clearly last night when he won, you could see that clearly last night when he was standing there and Jada Pinkett was clearly upset. And I think he responded to that. But when he saw Will Smith walking up, he was standing like this, almost as if he expected to be slapped. It looked like it was staged. That's the reason why everyone was thrown into a tizzy, and the audience thought it was something that was staged and part of the performance because of how Chris Rock had his hands behind his back and was like, okay, like this, and then he gets slapped. So, should that have happened? I'll save that to the end. But let's look at what happens when someone is being roasted. Being roasted is a ritual in Hollywood. You have to show that you have tough skin, that you are well aware of the things that make you distinct, quirky, eccentric, or eclectic. It's a real thing. It's been a tradition for at least 50 years. And there's nothing finer than someone who is aware of how they are perceived in society. It shows that they are aware of all of how their audience and the population sees them. And they're okay with it because they're being made fun of. So when someone is roasted, it's okay. It's all right. We can let our hair down and relax. However, the Oscars, the 94th annual Oscars, was not a roast, albeit there are slight roasting elements inside of it. And that's what gives the Oscars its edge. That's what gives it its danger. That's what gives it its whoa, Becky, if you will. So we have to take into consideration and balance out the potentials of what can happen when we are an attendee at the Oscars or if we are watching it. So my question again to Will Smith, would you have perpetuated your action last night during the 94th annual Oscars had it not been for the pre-existing comment that Chris Rock made about the boycott that your wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, called for? Would you have acted that way had it not been for the question of the existence of Tupac and how Jada Pinkett Smith actually felt about Tupac and your revelry or some of your disdain at the time when Tupac was alive? Would you have reacted the way you did last night if it were not for the fact that there was, in the words of Jada Pinkett Smith, an entanglement? Would you have done what you did last night if it were not for the pre-existing ridicule, castigation, speculation? And I think some people have been a little bit mean about some of the things that they've made fun about with that situation. I think personally, it's a private situation, but I think there were a lot of people that made fun of it, that made GIFs and memes and things like that. So again, if I'm talking to you one-on-one, Will, as a friend, as a peer, because we are the same age, or as a spiritual advisor, and you were a client and I was the advisor, I would ask you, if it were not for those four things, would you have castigated your position in Hollywood by perpetuating an assault on another melanated man who had a job to do? And, the opinions may differ as to whether or not Chris Rock went too far with the joke. And can he do his job effectively if he doesn't do what he is known to do, what he is expected to do? And I don't think he outright really disrespected your wife more than he would have done anybody else. If it was Ricky Gervais, Will Smith, this is my fifth question, would you have done the same thing? If it was Suge Knight up there, and he's in jail, we know that, would you have gone up and slapped him? These are the questions that people are going to ask you, Will. And like Denzel said, according to your reference, at your highest point, that's when the devil attacks. So, my personal look at this, and I'm going to answer my own question. Did Will Smith take it too far last night? And I love you, Will. I think the world loves you. But I'm not going to answer that right now. Hold on a second. We have to acknowledge your win. We have to acknowledge your win for your amazing performance in King Richard. One thing that I love about you, Will, is that you are an amazing actor. You are very, very in touch with your emotional gate. And I was once an actor, so I know the work and the toil and the focus, the intensity that it takes to be an actor, a convincing actor at that. Will Smith, I think, can get in touch with his emotional pain at the drop of a dime, which makes you somewhat of a commodity because there's not a lot of strong men as yourself that can do what you do. So you have a really, really great balance. You have shown that you have the masculinity, you have the prowess, you have the magnetism, and you also have the ability to touch the emotional bodies of your audience and to cry at the drop of a dime because you've gotten in tune with that. I know that I don't know if that's something that I'll ever be able to do as well as you, Will Smith. So I just wanted to acknowledge that again, you are in the 5 club. You are in a very, very small fraction of the populace, which is shared by, and I'm going to say this from memory, right? The esteemed league of Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, Forrest Whitaker, Jamie Foxx, and now Will Smith. You have arrived. You have been here. You never left. You've always been right here, as they say. So I commend you for that. And I listened to your speech. I also have to say this, Will. They're going to get you for this, okay? You said during your speech that you are being called on to protect. I get that. You want to function as a river. You are being called on to love. But the action, if you had to weigh it, could you have taken it more in stride? Could you have laughed it off? Were you afraid of your wife being upset with you because you did not defend her? And now I will answer the question. Did Will Smith take it a little too far last night? Did Will Smith go too far when he slapped Chris Rock? Well, in my opinion, given this book and all of the things that I read within it, Will Smith had to do what he did last night. He had to do it because if he didn't do it, Will Smith would have died a second death of cowardice. And Will Smith is not a coward. I think that given his childhood, he always said that I'm going to be about family. I'm going to protect my family. He protected his woman last night. He stood up. And do I agree with the methodology? Do I agree with the action? That's inconsequential. It's not important. But did Will Smith take it too far last night? Did he have to do what he did? Two different questions. Did he take it too far last night? That's for you to decide. Did he have to do it? Yes, Will Smith had to do it. Knowing that he was gambling with his career, knowing that there may be charges, criminal charges, civil charges, you may be canceled in the court of public opinion. I'm sure that Will Smith is a very intelligent man enough to know that he calculated all of these things and made a very informed decision that I am going to go up there and, according to the words of Chris Rock, again, smack the out of him. And he did it convincingly so. And he was ready to live with that decision and also die by the decision. But moreover and most importantly, he would have died a second death if he did not do exactly what he did. So, what I will say is, I never agree with violence unless you have to. Did he have to be violent last night? No. But I felt that he had to address the immediate situation on the spot with a modicum of violence. It's not like he snuffed him. He didn't do that. He slapped him. Now, Chris Rock could have ducked it, he could have bobbed it, he could have weaved it, he could have did an uppercut, and that would have been something else. It would have been something else, but Chris Rock also may have felt that he took it a little too far. He claims that he's not going to press charges. He didn't duck it, he didn't weave it, and this is probably part of his problem. He stood there as if he was expecting it to happen, or is this a derivative of his disease, his impediment, or his mental disorder that doesn't allow him to pick up on social cues? Dude, you said something, and the husband of the woman that you addressed is walking towards you. He's 6 feet tall, doesn't seem happy, and you just stood there. That's another video, Chris. You may need to get some help for that, because I would hate to think that you would be in the middle of the street standing there and you're going to just look at a bus come and hit you, and you can't pick up on the social cues of someone beeping the horn or the crowd saying, hey, move out of the way, or just your own optical acuity looking at what is approaching you and getting out of the way and keeping yourself out of harm's way. I'm just saying. So, back to Will Smith. You are now forever in the league of melanated actors who gave amazing performances. Will Smith, you now have an Oscar, but you also have a responsibility of being a role model. I think that you've been a great role model all of these years, and I remember after you did Bad Boys 3, I was there at the Apollo Theater when you and Martin Lawrence sat there in the audience, and you gave a really, really good dissertation at what your mindset was. And I also heard you say on The Breakfast Club that you really, and I'm going to paraphrase what you're saying, right? Or what you said, that you don't give up, or you're giving less than about how people feel about you. You are not going to be Mr. Fluffy. Last night proves that. So I applaud your conviction. And I would say this to every man. You have to live and die by what you believe. You have to be able to stand up for a causation, for a cause. What do you believe in? What will you die for? What are you convicted for? Is violence the answer? No. But when it comes to fighting for your life, sometimes it's the only outlet that can be used to save your life, because a soldier dies once, a coward dies 1,000 deaths. And I commend you, Will Smith, for not dying 1,000 deaths. Could you have done it differently? Yes, but I understand why you did what you did and how you did it. And I love you, Will. Okay? Give me a shout so we can talk. All right? And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. And I hope you guys have a better understanding. I wanted to get this out there before everybody starts weighing in on it. I am Sri Master Gano Grills for Galighticus. And I hope you have enjoyed this look. Have a great day.